Well, I think one of the most important questions that we can ask Congress, who supported this health care bill, is whether or not it's going to apply to them. Because what we see is a double standard around every single corner where our Congress is passing job-killing legislation that they are somehow exempted from. And I would like to submit that not only should Congress, every member of Congress, be subject to the legislation that they pass, but they ought to have to state the constitutionality of that legislation at the beginning of any piece of legislation. And you want to talk about rooting out waste, you want to talk about getting government out of our lives, is to require Congress to state their constitutional authority for doing it in the first place. And this health care bill will be fought both in Congress and in the court system. We're seeing states all over the country where they're filing claims based on the unconstitutionality of this bill, and we can and we will defeat it, turn the ship around, and start talking about real health care reforms that will help us in the state of Alabama and our everyday lives to drive down the cost of health care.
The Secretary of Defense and the Chief of Naval Operations, along with the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, support a repeal of the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy. The Commandant of the Marine Corps is opposed, and the other service chiefs ask that a complete study be conducted before any change is made. If this bill passes and the law is changed, will you introduce legislation to change the law back as it is now? Mr. Barber, the former Marine, here's your question.
Needless to say, I'm very proud of my Commandant. This is an issue that is not about civil rights. This is not about personal choice. Well, I mean, I should say it is about personal choice. We have a voluntary military in this country. You choose to take the oath. You choose to wear the uniform, and you choose to serve your country. And when you make that choice, you give up a lot of civil liberties. There are a lot of things under the UCMJ, the Uniform Code of Military Justice, that doesn't allow you to live your life the same way in the military as you do in the civilian world. It's a choice you make. If you don't want to live by those rules, you choose not to join. Serving openly as a gay or a homosexual in the military has been stated and outlined in the UCMJ as being incompatible with military service. And even if, and Don't Ask, Don't Tell was put in place to protect people that wanted to still serve, but not necessarily be subject to the penalties that come along with that. And what's funny about repealing Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and naturally I'm 100% against it, is because it's not going to increase our warfighting capability. It is not going to improve our ability. We are the #1 military in the world and have been. And we're there because of our regiment, because of our code, and because of our ethics. And if we start making it a political movement, if we start making it a bully pulpit for people and their personal opinions, we will decrease our warfighting capability and become a weaker nation and a weaker frontline military stand. We cannot allow this to happen. What's going to happen is with Don't Ask, Don't Tell, you only really address one of the problems. Because again, Don't Ask, Don't Tell was put in place to protect those that wanted to serve in the military that were homosexual. You repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell, the UCMJ doesn't change. The UCMJ still says it's illegal. All you're going to do is open them up to violence, to discrimination, both in promotion and anything else that's taking place. And what you're going to find is, again, you're going to weaken our military by producing a whole other set of problems that now have to be addressed. It's going to cost us money and ultimately cost us lives. Don't Ask, Don't Tell needs to be put back in place and left alone. Period.
Yes, I absolutely do not support the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. We are fighting two wars right now, and we absolutely do not need to go affecting the morale of our troops based on someone else's liberal agenda. It is so important to lift up our military, to support them, and we're sitting in a community right now, right here, that does such a wonderful job of that. As I've traveled around and heard testimonials from some of you about the community that we sit in right now, and how we want to keep the morale of our military as high as we can, and to go messing with it for someone else's liberal agenda is absolutely the wrong thing to do. I would like to say, too, that I think it's very important when we send someone to represent us in Washington that we send someone who will fight for the values, the family values that you and I hold so very dear. I absolutely believe that marriage is between a man and a woman, and it is the best environment in which to raise children. And I believe in the sanctity of life, the protection of the Second Amendment, and small, limited government, but I believe in the central role of faith and family in our lives. And that is absolutely crucial, that when we look all around us and we look at the deterioration of values in the world around us, that we need a stronger America both at home and abroad. And we need to send someone to represent us in Congress that understands and holds so true these values that are so important to all of us here in Alabama and in the 2nd Congressional District.
I'm sure you would have made a great Marine too. Mr. Barber, sorry? Rebuttal. Yes, sir.
I just want to stress one more point. Again, when you look at, when I talk about that disconnect, and the fact that we have less than 25% of our leaders have ever served in the military, that is the reason these kind of decisions are coming to the table. Is the only reason they're being discussed is because people that don't understand what it takes to serve are saying, this sounds like a good idea, let's do it. And what is it doing? You see it already. We're losing our best generals because they can't uphold integrity and support the president, because they're putting our kids' lives in harm's way without the ability to protect themselves. And it's just a constant breakdown of our military. And if we don't start putting leaders in Washington to understand that culture, understand that sacrifice, maybe this problem will get addressed and get solved, but the next one will still come up. We need to have those checks and balances in Washington, D.C., and I think that's why you see across the nation this year, you see most of the strongest candidates are those that have served in the military and are absolutely tired of seeing everything go away in this country that they fought so hard for.